colleague, you will recall that I presented this bill and it was read for the first time on Tuesday, the 21st of July, 2020. I wish to also put it on record that the bill was presented by Senator Gbenga Shafa, SB 387 in the 8th Senate. It passed through the following legislative process. First reading on Wednesday, 30th November 2016. Second reading Tuesday, 11th April 2017. Public hearing Thursday, 27 July 2017. And the third reading Tuesday, 19 December 2017. Regrettably, requisite action on the bill were not completed before the end of the 8th Assembly, and that necessitated my representing it again for enactment. Mr. President, distinguished colleague, the bill seeks to establish Nigerian French language village and makes comprehensive provision for its management and administration. The Nigerian French language village was established to cater for the language immersion program, which is also referred to as the Year Abroad program. This is a mandatory aspect of French language studies in Nigerian University and College of Education, that the student to stay in a French-speaking environment for some specific period. The Nigerian French language, the French language village, known as the village, is an inter-university center for French language studies. The institution was established by the federal government of Nigeria as a child of necessity in 1991, and it operates under the ambit of the National University Commission. The village was established as a result of the economic and political imperative of finding a domestic alternative to the statutory French Year Abroad program, hitherto held either in France or in one of the Francophone countries in West Africa, sub-region. The economic downturn of the 80s, coupled with the devaluation of the nation's currency, had made student participation in the Year Abroad program extremely expensive and unbearable to present and sponsor. Neither the government nor the parents could adequately source for foreign exchange to keep the student abroad for one academic year. In the face of these difficulties, General Ibrahim Babangida-led federal government, convinced of the need to encourage the study of French in Nigeria, set up various committees to find an acceptable and efficient alternative to the foreign year abroad program. The outcome of these were a memo by General Babangida for the establishment of the village. The idea was nurtured by Professor Jubril Aminu and the then Minister for Education, but it was finally his successor, Professor Babs Fafunwa, who sought to the takeoff of the village in September 1991. It is worthy of note that the village provides a mandatory year-long language immersion program for the undergraduate of the French language studies in the Nigerian University and College of Education. In addition to the above, the village has been an alternative teaching, research, learning, immersion, and acculturation center for the study of French by all Nigerians regardless of age and status. It is also known as a center of training and trainers, where French teachers have undergone refresher programs. The village received the first set of students for the academic year on the 6th of January 1992 from only the village received the first set of students for the academic year on the 6th of January 1992 from only 6 universities. Today, it receives students from more than 40 universities across Nigeria. Objective of the French village. The village shall encourage the learning of French language in an environment that will prepare the students in French village to 1. Speak French frequently, acquire proficiency in French, acquire competency in writing of French language, translate to and from French language with reference to the English language. And 4, interpret simultaneously and consecutively to and from French language with reference to English and Nigerian languages. B, hold out to all persons without distinction to race, creed, sex, or political conviction the opportunity of acquiring proficiency in the use of French language. C. Provide courses of instruction and other facility for the pursuit of learning the French language. D. Develop appropriate curriculum to suit the needs of learners of French in Nigeria. E. Work closely with the French Embassy in matters relating to French studies in Nigeria. E. Award testimonials, certificates, diplomas, postgraduate diplomas, and postgraduate degrees to persons who complete the courses of studies undertaken in the village. F. Provide an environment having all the socio-cultural, physical, and psychological facility that will facilitate the learning of French language through a coordinated, stimulated process that allows the learner to achieve the linguistic and cultural immersion that is indispensable for cumulative competence in French. G. Operate with the multidimensional and omnidirectional strategy of language acquisition for the benefit of 1. French language undergraduate from Nigerian University for their studies, for their statutory French language immersion program. 2. Students of College of Education for their compulsory summer French language immersion program. 3. Secondary school teachers and students, primary schools, teachers and pupils. And 4. Government and non-governmental personnel. H. Serve as a center for exchange of information of French studies and of outsourcing researches in the area of French studies. I. Encourage research into problems of learning and teaching of French as a foreign language in Nigeria, with a view to carrying out research into those problems and finding solutions to them. J. Encourage the development and publication of materials, including books, journals, and teaching aid for proficiency program and for secondary and tertiary institutions. K. Compile, assemble, and publish the result of research in French studies in Nigeria and popularize those findings where their general recognition in the opinion of the village is of importance to Nigeria and to the French studies in Nigeria. And I. Carry out other activities as are necessary or expedient for the performance of its functions under the bill. M. To undertake any other activities appropriate for a French village of the highest standard. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, let me say that in our ongoing development drive, Nigeria cannot afford to lag behind in French language proficiency among the Committee of Nations in the international community. There is need to equip an eligible and interested Nigeria with French skill across profession for interpersonal relationship as well for takeoff of employment slot meant for Nigerians at the global level. The Nigerian French language village will produce the much needed manpower to perform the role if given the legal backing. Mr. President, distinguished colleague, the establishment of this International University Center for French Studies will also go a long way in addressing the French language deficiency in our professional, considering that Nigeria is surrounded by French-speaking country. I have no doubt that the enactment of this bill will help in transforming French language teaching and learning in Nigeria by giving the much-needed support to the village to consolidate its excellent performances of the 20 years in French language teaching and learning in Nigeria. I urge you all to support this bill for second reading. Thank you and God bless you.
I think, Mr. President, no one is in doubt of the fact that we must encourage French language in our nation. For so many reasons, this language is part of what has been approved as, I think, second official language of Nigeria. Like my colleague said in his lead debate, we are surrounded by French-speaking countries, Mr. President. Therefore, apart from business transactions, economic activities, we equally need to encourage and make sure that we develop the language in our nation for security reasons, Mr. President. For security reasons, this bill is seeking to enhance the effectiveness of our security personnel. Today, quite a number of graduates have been enlisted into the armed forces, into the security agencies. Once they are knowledgeable in French as a language, they could effectively police our borders, and those who are into economic activities will be able to effectively carry out their business. I recall, Mr. President, early this year, when we went to Niger Republic for the ECOWAS Parliament. Now, in Niger, they speak French, and there are quite a number of countries, West Africa. But for some of us who are truly Nigerian, in the sense that some of us who try to make sure we speak other national languages, we're able to communicate. What I'm not saying in essence is that some of those who came from Mali, some of them speak Hausa, but they speak French. Some of us who are knowledgeable in Hausa language, we're able to speak Hausa to them. Now those who came from Benin Republic, who are Yorubas by their name, and Gambia, and Ivory Coast, with their name I knew they are Yoruba people, so I was speaking Yoruba to them. So I was able to translate, to use both English, to speak Hausa and Yoruba together, to communicate to those of them from French-speaking countries. Okay, but at the point in time when they wanted to play some games, the little one I understood in secondary school, they wanted to go and eat. These guys who speak Yoruba and Hausa language now spoke French, say "Vmj," and say, "Me too, I want to eat." Oh, so they say, "Oh, you understood French." Now, what I'm saying is that it is just important for us to carry French along as our language. But in doing so, Mr. President, I think it's an occasion to say that we must look at how we can encourage the three major languages in Nigeria. You know, because there are situations where you see some Nigerians, apart from the language they understood from their local area, they don't speak the major languages. While it is good we continue to give support for French, it is not out of place if we look at the possibility of asking similar institutions to be set across the country. Let us have a village for Hausa language in Lagos or in Enugu. Let us have Igbo language in Kano. You know Igbo language, and Yoruba language, yes, Yoruba language. Let us see how we can encourage major languages to be spoken in our nation. There are quite a number of statesmen today in Nigeria, apart from where they come from. They don't speak any of the two other national languages. It is important for us because communication is key. It's effective for security, for economic activities, for unity. So I think, Mr. President, it's not out of place if we start looking at how we can model, take this bill as a model to have Yoruba language in Lagos, to have Hausa in Kano, in Calabar, in Enugu, and take Igbo language in Mina, so that we understood ourselves effectively. So this bill is desirable, and I commend my distinguished brother for bringing it up, and I think we should give all the support that is required. I so submit.
The mover or the sponsor of this bill, that's Mr. Yai Olamilekon. French village is very important. I have been to French village. I know exactly how they do it. I know how they teach people. And if you go there, as if you are in Niger Republic or in Togo, everywhere they will be talking about French. Je parle très bien, je parle le français. Il y a beaucoup de choses de Bagadry.
That's not a language you have.
No, but what I'm saying is, you mentioned that you want to eat.
Yes.
Vous avez parlé, je veux manger. That you are going to eat.
Yes.
Right?
So, please address the chair.
No, but to be candid, Your Excellency, this bill is very important because if you go there, you will see everybody speaking French. In fact, I spent about 3 weeks in that place, and I sponsored a lot of people, a lot of students to this French village. And if you look at it, this has been since 1991, about 29 years ago, which means Only that is required is the legal framework so that it can continue to function. But I don't think there is any problem. Those of us who are at the border side, we believe that knowing French language or Arabic is very, very fundamental and important. And therefore, I support the bill, and I urge everybody to support this bill so that at least it can be given a speedy passage. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
We actually took this in the 8th Senate, and it cleared the 8th Senate. The only reason I gave opportunities is because of the popularity of the bill. I'll proceed now to put the question. Those in favor that the bill be now read the second time, say aye. Aye. Those against, say nay. No nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate. A bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the Nigeria French Language Village as an inter-university center for French studies and other matters connected therewith, 2020. Second reading taken. The bill is committed to a committee on tertiary institutions and TED fund to report back in 4 weeks. Leader of the Senate.